Hello, hello. This video is for Ulla Pietzsch. I am sitting in front of my large wall-size painting called Together Forever. And in that painting is my papa dog, as you can see him. I have a papa dog, and here he is. Here's the papa dog. Yes, he is. And this has been always my lifelong dream, and it is because of you, because you have inspired me. You have inspired me more than anyone else. There are many inspirers in my life, but you vibrate on the same frequency with me. And with that, what I have, what I am, what I've brought into this life's existence with me from the infinite cosmos. And so when I met you for the first time, I was about 8 years old, I think. We were at Erlenhof, and I can say that I have to be careful with too much detail, but that's why I can't really mention names, because it's a public video, and I also make this in English because it's a public video, and I always make this for everyone else as well, because there are so many things that I need to talk about that are so important for all of us. And nitty-gritty psychological things that are powerful and liberating for all of us. And so this has been on my mind for many years, that I have been wanting to contact you, and I don't know how to contact you. I haven't found you on the internet. I couldn't find a contact address. Maybe I can ask my brother and my dad from Erlenhof. I think you know what I'm talking about. So my parents are art collectors like you. I'm not on that scale, but modern art fans like you are. And so for everyone out there, Ulla and Heiner Pietzsch are, and particularly for the German people out there, they are one of the largest, greatest art collectors worldwide, modern art collectors. They are amazing, amazing. They even have Jonathan Mese work, a lot of it, and Jonathan Mese work. And he went back there to look at his artwork. He said he didn't even remember that. He doesn't even feel connected to that anymore, what he has made there in the past. So, but they collected all of these things and collect all of that, like my dad has collected my artwork from age 2 until today. So in meticulous order, with everything, with dates on it and what it means and so on. Very interesting. So fantastic works that they have, and they have donated so much of it also to museums. And I read they're going to be having to close down some museums, and they have to put some of the collection into closed storage where people can't see it. That's so the public, there's a public outcry there, and there's some museum type of people and art lovers that are upset about this, and that they're petitioning to bring this very large art collection back into the public, and not to close it up into some kind of dungeon or something. So I think that's good. I'm right on board with that. I want the public to see art as much as possible, and that is also your and your husband's intent, that art and culture gets into the public's eye. And that's the main theme of today's thinking for me, And particularly today, I've been thinking about this a lot. I talked to my husband a lot about it. I said, under tears, I said that particularly here, we live in the United States, that in the United States in particular, a tragedy has evolved over time of a complete split universe, almost like a parallel universe within the United States of two spheres that are separated from each other in some kind of membrane where the people from the two worlds don't even have much of an interaction going on anymore among each other, which can also lead to a split in the human species eventually, and it probably will, which is not a tragedy. But what I find tragic is that in that one society that has enclaved itself away over time, away from art, love, freedom, cosmopolitanism, they have withheld the treasures of art and freedom and mental flow and development. They have withheld that from their own children, from their own future generations, and they keep their own future generations enclaved away from the freedom of the cosmopolitan, worldly, as they call it, secular, you know, they call it hippie, they give it snubby labels, and they snub they snub their nose on it as if it was something bad. A lot of societies have those kind of things going, but particularly the enclave that I call the religious, the ones that are not free flowing, the ones that don't allow themselves to free flow with things. They're really stuck, and they teach their children very twisted values, and these children never get to see modern art. They never get to see, they withhold that from them. And I think it is so extremely infinitely important to bring modern art in particular, but anything that is free flow, any kind of art throughout history that is free flow. It goes, I would say, even all the way back to Raphael, because, it is very detailed, it is very almost photorealistic. It is, they were always aspiring towards realistic paintings, but he brought in his own free flow. He did anyway, because, whichever style we use, we can bring a free flow into it. And Raphael knew how to do this. He just automatically did it because he was romantic. Had a romantic brain, he was an admirer of beauty and certain atmospheres, and he captured that in his paintings, in particular the Transfiguration. I don't hear a lot of enclave people talk about the Transfiguration, even though it is about their Jesus, but they don't talk about it. So why is that? Because maybe Raphael brought free flow into it, flowing, being not stagnated, being passionate, being completely in tune with the infinite cosmos. Maybe That's what it is. The infinity is in it, in that painting. And that's what the enclave people are afraid of. Infinity is in all modern art. Things are stretched, they are, maybe they are pronounced. Certain things are pronounced, made, just the character of it has been brought out more. And certain things that one person sees more than the other, he sees that more because he has a passion for it, so he makes it bigger, he makes it more pronounced, like. And so many artists, modern artists, that have started out more proportionally correct, if you want to use that word, the proportionally correct, the more realistic proportion of that what we see in our surroundings. But then they see certain things like fingers, and they see, let's say they see the fingers, they see certain fingers that are kind of fat or something, and so they make them fatter and they make them bigger, and then suddenly the hand becomes dominant over the face, as in Picasso's painting, or also Fernando Botero, or Niki de Saint-Phalle. Niki de Saint-Phalle was a great inspirer for me when her nanas came to the river. So there was this rift between the enclaves and the cosmopolitans. I think that's what I'm going to call them. That's it. Humanity is going to be splitting off into enclaves and cosmopolitans. We're going to be two new species. Yeah. So which one do you want to belong to is my question to the public. So I know that Ulla, Heiner, my parents, my brother, and we already belong to the cosmopolitans, the free flowers, yeah, the sensitive people, the ones who understand what it means to be in that flow of infinite, the infinite cosmos, like a sunset, like clouds that are changing shape in a sunset. And we have seen the most amazing ones just recently in Nevada. We drove all the way to Nevada, and on our way back, the blue god appeared in the cloud formations. And that is modern art. That is the art of the infinite cosmos showing itself directly to us. So here's my painting. I didn't want to show that cabinet next to us because that's not pretty. So I just wanted to show my painting. I love this painting here. So it's really gorgeous. So I hope that we can, yeah, I don't know. I want to, eventually I want to give you this painting. Give that to you. Because eventually we're going to be moving, and we won't be able to keep any of these. Because we're going to be moving, and it's going to be a huge project, and I don't want to put the stuff into a storage or something. So if you want my artwork, you can have it. I just want my artwork to be in good hands with someone who really likes art. That's what I want, and I don't want anything in return for it. I would like to be able to talk to you on Google Hangout and share something with you. Just talk. That's all I wish for. To have someone but you don't. That doesn't have to be. It's just. I'm just saying everything that I feel right now. I just want to connect with someone who I know is on the same frequency that I am on. And, you know, I know you know Dieter. I can't say the last name because, so, yeah. Jeez. I wished I could say all the names and everything, but Dieter, another modern art collector. Not the gallerist, I'm talking the one, the Dieter that's still alive. And I remember Dieter and his wife, they went to the Guggenheim Museum, and they went to the East Coast of the United States a lot. And every time we came back, it's United States, it is so grand and so open and free, and they're so much better. And my dad always says, wenn die Amis mal was machen, dann ist es immer ganz groß. My objection to that, though, is that since I have experienced both sides now. I have been put into the enclave society by accident, I mean by economic chance and so on. It was just a situation like this where, I just couldn't stay at the Guggenheim Museum. And I have married a man who comes from the enclave. But his mind is more than that. His mind, he brings something else into his existence that has seen much more than that. So he's also been a bit of a rebel in that enclave society, of course. Has become atheist, and he has stood up against a lot of bullshit in there. So, and just basically made himself independent from it. And so that's how I met him. We went hiking together, and I met him in LA. And he has no money, eventually just from scratch sort of, got a house, eventually a shack, turned it into more than $500,000. And that is nice. And now we're trying to do something with that gradually trying to do something with it. And it's not been easy, it's been very hard. It's a lot of work, buying something when the prices are low, fixer-upper, a lot of work, a lot of dirty work, a lot of hard work, pain, tears and blood, nervous breakdowns. So, but the whole time I always want to be pampered. I want to really be in the hands of a real rich man taking care of me. But it's almost everyone wants that, but a lot of people don't admit to it. Those are pretty stuck that don't admit to that. But it's not always easy, of course, not everyone has the means. And so sometimes these experiences and being in this world that is rather difficult is a learning journey. Yes, the Papa Dog, yes. The Papa Dog is my everything. Yes, and I remember you have said to me, and when was that? That was in the 80s. We came to your house in Düsseldorf. And that is the Papa Dog, yes. And you had 2 dogs with short hair. I think they were corgis. And I'll never forget what you said to me. You just love to sit there in the afternoon and watch your dogs play with each other. And it's kind of like, you didn't say it directly, but I could hear it in the sentence that is the essence of your life and the meaning of your life. And I so 100% understood it. You know, my mother, being a lawyer, wanted to become a judge. Then she had kids instead, which she shouldn't have done. And all this grind and all this, for what? For some prestige, for some to be honored, to be your honor, I guess, you know. Your honor is what they call the judges. But they don't call it that in Germany, but it's kind of over theatrical here in the United States. But it's the same energy that swings with it, you know, being this judge. You get respect. It's like, is this all for an emotion? So, but the real thing is about existence is this free flowing. That's the whole meaning of life. The meaning of life is to sit there and if you have 2 dogs, you watch the dogs play with each other. You have one, or if we have one dog like I have, I snuggle with my dog, I paint him, I sketch him, I paint him with a marker or with a ball pen. Already made many sketches of him. And I take photos of him, I video film him, and I sing to him, and I pet him, and I sit with him like this and smell his fur. He's luxurious. Yeah. Yeah, I painted him. I love this painting. And that is the flow of life, you know. I know this video is kind of awkward, but I don't know how to do it any better. So I give the best I can. That's the free flow. That is universal love. That is the infinite cosmos flowing, and that is how we should live our lives. In that flow, and not in something that comes from a stuck emotion, like respect, aspiring, or something, being ambitious, you know, creating, making something out of oneself. What for? To prove something neurotic to oneself, you know. No, I want to, and I watched Teal Swan workshop earlier, and she is the reincarnation of the goddess Dorje Udronma, and an amazing genius who has gone through an infinitely hard childhood with extreme trauma that I would have never survived. But, you know, with that kind of power in her and mindset, she made it through, became a therapist, spiritual healer. Yeah, that word is a little oversold. Spiritual, I kind of usually stay away from that word, but yeah. Well, I'd say therapist, and I would say the best in the world. That, you know, the real deep therapy that goes very deep. So I've been watching a lot of her workshops lately, And she too, of course, understands this. And there was this one woman in a Prague workshop, a woman from Czechoslovakia, came to the stage, sat next to her, and she said she broke up with her husband. Husband had money. Now she's struggling. Now she thinks she needs to. She was about 60. She needs to make it on her own. She has 2 kids that are probably in their 20s, and she needs to make it now. And society has told her she needs to make it on her own, but she really doesn't. And so after a while back and forth, Teal Swan recognized that there's apparently a lot of shame in this, that she wants to be taken care of, even particularly at age 60, and society will frown on it. And she shrugged her shoulders, kind of admitted to it, but was embarrassed about it. And Teal Swan made it very clear to her and all of us that there is no shame in it. The shame comes from neurotic society. Shame, all this shaming and all these standards that are put on us. You need to, thou shalt, you need to become successful with this or that. You need to make it, or that's not the meaning of life. The meaning of life is to be in a free flow. And wherever we are, with anything, with money or emotions or wishes or romantic wishes or whatever we want to do, whatever we aspire to do. If we suddenly decide we want to learn how to play the piano, or we want to learn how to do opera singing, it's never too late for this. Wherever we are, we can do it. We can dissolve the shaming and the stigmata and the expectations of society to us, of any society. Every society has their neurotic things, but the cosmopolitans are more. They have already gotten their dose of culture, so they have experienced culture, and they know about all these amazing things. So once we know about these amazing things, like Picasso and Matisse and Niki de Saint-Phal and Arnold Leisler and Horst Antes, once we know about, or Beethoven, Bach and Mozart and Chopin and Debussy, once we know about these amazing things, we can't unknow them. We can't go back into some kind of enclave and close ourselves off from it. Because why would anyone close themselves off from that what puts us in tune with the infinite cosmos? I see an angel in the sky, opening his wings. I see a heart appearing. It's beautiful. I see a lot of hearts. I see hearts everywhere, all the time, in all kinds of patterns, in styrofoam pattern, wallpaper, rug, plants, papa dog's hair. So I will never forget this. My mother needed to respect wanted the respect, and closed herself off from the infinite cosmos and the free flow. The people who are around enclaves, or my mother's not an enclave, but she closed herself off. And those are just broad categorizations, of course, like for society, a very rough categorization. Enclaves versus cosmopolitans. So, my mother comes from a more cultured background and does respect culture, of course, but psychologically she has locked herself away from the infinite free flow and put a lot of restrictions and restraints onto her mindset and onto her own life, and projected that out, of course, onto the children. And so the people that are around someone who has locked themselves up, when they start to heal and when they start to work on themselves, that is how they help that person. And that's what I started doing. I started to work on myself, and by working on myself and gradually, it's a very tedious and very gradual process, but we don't have to make it tedious. It's one bit after another. It is a very, very, very gradual treading forward, but that's better than going into any other direction. So, and I am healing gradually, and the more I'm healing, the more I'm helping my mother with this energetically. Even if I don't talk to her, I help her energetically with it, so that she very, very, very gradually can come in contact with the infinite cosmos and its vibration. So, and that's wonderful, absolutely wonderful. And I admire you, Ulla. I admire you. So the battery's getting low. I got to charge it up. Take care. Bye bye.